All right. Hello, everyone. It is now 1:30 and we're starting up our live stream. I'm here with Marc Werner from Long Island Orthotics and Prosthetics today, and we're going to be talking a little bit about what's going on with Long Island Orthotics and Prosthetics and how to kind of keep yourself going while you're home during COVID-19. So without further ado, I'm going to bring in Marc. It's weird to call you Marc because you're dad, but tell everyone a little bit about you and what it is that you do at Long Island Orthotics and Prosthetics.
Well, as you know, my name is Marc Werner, aka Celia's dad, and we opened up Long Island Orthotics and Prosthetics about 11 years ago. We just moved to our new location in Bohemia, New York. We combined both the Long Island Orthotics and Prosthetics in West Babylon and also the North Shore Orthotics and Prosthetics in Port Jeff Station. And now we have 4,200 square feet. And for the past 3 weeks, I've had 4,200 square feet all to myself. So it's been a little bit interesting. We provide orthotic and prosthetic care. Right now, we're seeing patients for emergency basis only. We have a skeleton crew behind the scenes to kind of keep the paperwork moving forward, the authorizations extended, whatever we need to do. And I'm just getting back to the old days. So I'm modifying the molds, molding the sockets, the braces, trimming, polishing, sewing, riveting, just trying to stockpile work. So once we can see patients, we're good, we're ready to go. So that's kind of what I've been doing for the past 3 weeks. It's been kind of different, as everyone knows by now. And, we're just trying to get by, every day at a time and don't think too far ahead.
So it must be crazy because you're going from like a normal busy schedule to basically just you in the office. What have some of the changes you've had to go through between like pre and post coronavirus?
So pre-coronavirus, we were a company of 11 employees between the two companies. And now it's really myself, Karen, aka Celia's mother at home. She came in the other day, which was a nice surprise to have somebody else here. Behind the scenes, Donna's also helping out a little bit. Charlie's been helping out some. Other than that, it's really just kind of quiet. With the authorizations, we have Lori just helping out as needed, just trying to get things extended. So that was pre-corona. We had a full workforce of two companies in one building, and now post-corona, it's really I'm just coming in every day, 7:30 in the morning, and there's days I'm here till 7 at night, just trying to move things along. It's organized. I got to play with my Spotify in the office, so I can really listen to whatever I'm in the mood for. Lately, I've been stuck with Johnny Cash Radio just to put something a little bit different out there, and that's kind of how I'm getting through my days.
So if anyone has any questions about orthotics, prosthetics, what you should be doing at home, what the company's doing, make sure to put it in the comments and I will bring them up in conversation. So what has been the change that you've seen between appointments and, like, I know you go to a lot of hospitals, nursing homes, things like that. What's been going on since everyone is now home and basically can't leave?
It's been quiet. The phones used to ring quite often. Right now, it's a little bit slower, which just kind of gives us a chance to kind of like reboot and kind of just prepare for things. Some of the hospitals, some of the nursing homes, if it's needed, we will be going. I have to go to a facility possibly tomorrow, if I could squeeze in between online teaching. Um, it's really just emergencies, just trying to, take care of whatever the issue of the day is and get ready for the next day.
So I know that there are a couple of protocols that you're now following. I know one of the big ones is social distancing. How have you guys been handling the social distancing in the office?
Well, social distancing, I got 4,200 square feet, again, pretty much to myself. But when the patients do come in, instead of putting them in the exam room, I found that it's easier just to put one chair in the parallel bars, because when they leave, it's just easier to kind of clean that area. I could just wipe down the parallel bars, wipe down the chair. When they come in, we could take their temperature. We also have hand sanitizer for them. I'm wearing the masks. I'm wearing gloves. It's just a little bit different. They go to the bathroom. You have to kind of like wipe down the bathroom, the light switches, the faucets, the toilet, all those things, just to prepare for the next person to come in. So if I see one patient a day, that's a lot. Yeah, there's days where I'm just here to collect the mail, to collect the deliveries. But we're just trying to keep the place clean and keep it ready for the next day when we could get more people in.
And definitely keeping it organized definitely helps.
Uh, yes. So I kind of went through some of the boxes that we didn't unpack. So every box is now unpacked. It's repacked and labeled and stored, and all the cabinets and everything is all stored. So that was a week's worth of stuff. And then I started to get back into working with the molds, the plaster, laminating, molding sockets. Uh, Next week will be sewing and riveting.
Gotcha. For someone that doesn't know what an orthotic or a prosthetic is, what in a few words are those things?
So, an orthotic device provides support to the body, whether it's their leg, the ankle, their arm, their back. A prosthetic device is something that's going to replace part of the body. So, whether it's their leg amputated below the knee or above the knee, or if they have an upper extremity amputation. So, orthotics is bracing, and prosthetics is providing an artificial limb.
And I know that you work a lot with custom for both of those things. What's the difference between buying something at the store and working with you?
So what you could get at like CVS or Walgreens or something like that is like an off-the-shelf device, and you don't have to be qualified to fit that. So they're small, medium, large, and you just buy it and leave. We will actually measure the patients, we'll fit them for the correct size, and then we'll process the paperwork through the insurance, and we'll instruct them on use and care, cleaning, which I know we're going to talk a little bit more about cleaning shortly. So that's more with the orthotics. The prosthetics is really just custom, and whatever shape and size the limb, it's going to be a shape and size of the socket that their limb's going to go into. We'll attach a knee or a foot or a hand, depending on what part of the body that we're working with.
I know you work a lot with also the computerized version of those legs and arms, which is very interesting. And I know that you have a lot of active patients. So I know that it's probably hard for them to stay home and not be running around with all of that.
It's been interesting. People have definitely like slowed things down at this point. I know some people who are staying home. One person in particular is staying with his grandmother, Nana. So I wish them well.
We have someone that says hello. So Lauren says hi. Um, I want to ask you about. I know that some people are at their practices incorporating telehealth. Are you guys doing that at Long Island, or do people have to come in?
Um, so we're trying to get around patients coming in. So I've talked patient out in Greenport. I'm sorry, Watermill. So just talked him through adjusting the socket at home. So this way he didn't have to come in to make a trip. I've been playing around with WebEx, Zoom. Now I'm using what you gave me, which is pretty fancy, StreamYard. So we could do FaceTime. We could set up Zoom. There's things that we could send to the patients without seeing them. Some of the off-the-shelf stuff. So I've been the shipping and receiving department. So I've been sending out the devices, and if they have questions, we could set up consultations after they get the devices if they have questions. So it's been a little bit different, but we'll use the technology that's available so we could get whatever we need done for whoever needs.
Do you think after everything happens with coronavirus, you're going to still incorporate these different, I'm going to say, communication sources? If someone has like a small problem that they're able to like fix at home, maybe doing a telehealth type appointment rather than having to run all the way out east or run all the way to like a hospital. Do you think that this would be a useful tool to use in the future?
I think that this is going to lead to more of that kind of availability for people.
Mhm.
Um, it will people who can't get out of their homes, it just offers another way to get to see them and get them seeing them quicker, as compared to setting up an appointment, have to travel someplace. That could take a day, could take a week, till you could get out there. Where this way we could probably just get in there, see what's going on, and see what we could do. So, I have a couple of patients that are waiting to heal. So, they're sending me pictures, they're sending me measurements. Once they're ready, then I'm ready to go. Also working with some of the doctors with the telehealth, and I think that's going to streamline some of the paperwork process as far as the doctor's appointments, the prescriptions, the detailed notes that we need to get, so then we can start to proceed and move forward with some of the other stuff.
That was going to be my next question. It kind of cuts out that middleman of having to make your appointment, wait for your appointment, go sit in the waiting room, figure out how am I going to get to this doctor if people can't drive. I think that it's going to really help the medical industry after all of this blows over.
I think so. It's take advantage of the technology that's out there. I kind of like technology based on my previous computer degree, but that was many years ago. But the technology now, I had to do the online teaching for the physiatry residents at St. Charles through Stony Brook University. So normally that's a face-to-face meeting twice a week for about 3 to 4 hours at a clip, and for the month of March. So we did things a little bit outside the box, and we did WebEx, and we also did Zoom, and it was just different. So talking to the residents, I was literally just talking to my computer. It's going to be a little bit different. I have tomorrow the Stony Brook PT students, so they were supposed to come to my office and see how we make things, have some patients here for live demos, explain how things are made, have different types of prosthetic feet, computerized knees, bracing, all that kind of stuff for them to kind of see, touch, and feel. So tomorrow I'll be walking around with my camera and just doing like a Zoom video and answer whatever questions and kind of get them like a walkthrough, how things are made, different types of things that are out there. So that'll be a little bit different. And then coming up, I think in 2 weeks is going to be the occupational therapy students at Toro. So I'll be doing a Zoom for them as well. So it's going to be a little different, not necessarily face-to-face time, but through the computer, I guess you'll have the connections that you need.
The few things that are really good about that, though, are if you want to include all of those patients, all you need to do is send them a link, and they don't have to worry about getting to the office. They can pop in, pop out. And then also with bringing the computer around the office, everyone gets the same close-up view or view of what you're doing instead of, looking over someone's shoulder, hoping that they get a good spot. So that would be a helpful thing.
Yeah, so we're going to record little snippets of certain things, so then we can just general information, what's out there, and little products and stuff like that.
Yeah. So let's shift gears a little bit. I know you spoke a little bit about like the protocols that you are doing when patients come in, but in terms of staffing, what have you guys chosen to kind of do? Because I know that you can't have the whole staff in right now, and I know that you're in there at least right now by yourself, but what precautions have you taken in light of this?
Social distancing, everyone's been home, everyone's with their families, everyone's healthy, to my knowledge. So those are all good things. It's, every day is just a little bit different. So, just trying to get the place moving forward. So when it is time to get people back, we'll have the means to do so. But at the beginning, we're probably going to have more of a skeleton crew here just to do some coverage work so we could start to get some patients in. We're not going to have probably a full force right away. Probably like a admin staff and a practitioner at this point. And then slowly, as things start to dissipate, start bringing in more and more staffing.
I think that everyone's going to appreciate you bringing in everyone slowly, because obviously we don't want to have any kind of resurgence of coronavirus. We want to make sure that it dies out so that the world can basically run again. Um, but for those who are kind of stuck home and they need something like socks or anything like that, what can they be doing to get those kinds of products that they need for their legs?
If they need anything, they could contact us. There's a few physicians that we're working with the telehealth to get the appointments for them to be seen by the physicians. Then we could obtain the prescriptions. Some of the manufacturers now are actually letting us just drop ship the supplies directly to the patient's house. So if it's like a silicone liner, prosthetic socks, those kind of things, we could get what's needed, and then we could just order it, process it, and get it right to the patients.
I know how some people go through those really quickly. Liners are. Can you actually grab that leg behind you and show people what you're
This
talking
one,
about? Yes,
this
that
one over
one,
here,
the one that's hanging out back there.
the one that I. Oh, okay. Hold on.
Yes. So if you could give people a little tour of what a prosthetic leg looks like, that would be awesome.
Well, welcome. So this is a prosthetic leg. This is for somebody who's amputated below the knee or transtibial amputation. So there's a prosthetic foot. There's a connection from that foot to the socket. And then we have a socket. In this case, it's a laminated carbon socket. And then we have a liner. So I'm just going to discard this for a second. So this liner goes on the patient's limb, and this protects their skin, but it also has a little lock at the bottom, and that lock, when they step in, engages, and that's what holds the leg on. When they want to take it off, they press a button, and it releases. But the inside of this is made of a silicone, a gel, a urethane material, and when the patient wears it, it's important that they have good hygiene, and they clean out the silicone every day. They usually have two liners, one to wear, one to wash, so they could alternate. But it's important that they wash it. They wash it properly with warm water, antibacterial soap, let it air dry overnight. You don't want to put any like creams or soaps on that have like a fragrance, because that could irritate the skin. But it's really important because this is in direct contact with your skin. So we really want to make sure that this is staying nice and clean. And these tend to wear more so than the prosthetic device itself. So these usually every 6 months could be replaced, and it's very simple. We have the information, what shape, what size, what model was already delivered to the patients, so we could just order that and then ship it out to them, and they'll be good to go.
So you were talking a little bit about the cleaning process. Can you just go a little more in depth with that? Because I know that everyone is so concerned with cleanliness and disinfecting, with obviously the virus going around, and people need to be careful with obviously their limb, especially because that is basically suctioning to their leg for the entirety of when they're wearing it. I know that some people are like using glasses instead of contacts because they don't want to get germs in their eyes. A lot of people are using masks so they don't get germs in their nose and their mouth. But how can people very effectively clean both their liners and their prosthetic devices?
So there's different products out there. There's wipes that you could wipe down the prosthesis or the brace that's being used. With the silicone liner, you could wash them out with, like, again, antibacterial soap. Some materials you could water down bleach or alcohol and spray it to disinfect it. Each product's a little bit different, but the outside of the prosthesis, people are walking. If you're going to the store, you're going shopping, things like that. You're around people, even though you're socially distancing yourself from people. It's still a good idea to maintain good hygiene to clean the prosthetic device. That's wiping it down. When patients are coming here, we're doing adjustments. I'm wearing a mask. I'm wearing gloves, and I'm then disinfecting the patient's brace or prosthesis when it comes in, so I can work on it. I set up a little workstation in the back where I keep everything in a confined area. The tools that I basically use I keep those out, not to put them back in general population with the tools. So this way, after I work with the patient's device, I could then sanitize the tools and the area that I was just working in. So this way, when it's time for the next person or the next device to come through, we're not cross-contaminating. We're trying to do everything we can to keep everything just contained and cleaned and sanitized.
Is that the same way that you would clean like a brace for your leg? Or if I know you work with a lot of people that have braces that go actually under their feet in their shoes and things along those lines, would you use the same products to clean that?
Yep, baby wipes, any kind of wipe, anything to disinfect, clean, things like that. If you don't have wipes, you could take a little rubbing alcohol. You could take bleach. You could water it down with water and put it in a spray bottle, just to kind of clean the brace out, so to speak. Um, there's different products. If you can find the products, if you can find the cleaning materials, that seems to be getting a little bit better, getting some of those products in-house again.
Yeah, if anyone has any questions in terms of like cleaning or anything, or any questions in terms of what should I be doing with my prosthetic, my orthotic while I'm home, put them in the comments down there, and we will definitely address it. So you go first.
I didn't mean to jump on your toes.
Okay.
So, the appointments that we are having here, it's by appointment only. So we've had people call, we set up the appointments, we confirm that they're coming to make sure, because we don't want to have multiple patients here at the same time. When the patients are coming, we ask that the patient comes into the office. So if they're being driven, for the family member or whoever drove them to remain in the car, we'll work with the patients. And then once we're done, they could leave. If it's a child, they could come in with one parent. Again, we're trying to limit what's coming in and keeping the place safe and clean for the next person down the chain. When people do come in, we'll take the temperature. We could wash the hands with the hand sanitizer or soap and water, and just make sure that we're doing everything we can to limit what's coming into the office for social distancing and truly take care of what emergencies are out there.
So I know that you are taking all of these precautions, but do you think that all of these precautions are going to be the new norm after coronavirus has passed, with all of the new cleaning regimens that everyone have been uh, putting into action? I had a word and it started with I, but it did not work. But do you think that this is something that's going to affect future in at least your industry and the medical industry?
I think it's going to cross through all industries. I think what we were doing, a month and a half, 2 months ago, it's going to take quite some time to get back to that level. So I think there's going to be a little bit of apprehension where, people might not be ready to just jump into, oh, well, we're just going to do this, touch this, work on this. I think there's going to be more and more precautions, but also I think it's going to open up other avenues of opportunities to create this kind of content where you could work with the patients on a one-on-one basis almost immediately. So I think there's going to be carryovers throughout this. I think it's going to be weeks and months before things start to feel a little bit more normal than what's going on right now.
I think it's really going to help both the patient and the provider's schedules, also doing some of these telehealth and video chat appointments, because I know from experience, you are running around 5, 6, 7 days a week to make it to the out east patients, the patients that are over in Nassau County. Make sure that you get to all the hospitals, get to all the people, help all of the patients that need help. But some of those appointments probably are quick little things that if they hopped on video call, you can just say, all right, grab a wrench and turn this a quarter turn that way, and then it takes care of their prosthetic problem. Do you think that that's going to alleviate a lot of that kind of small adjustment type situations?
I think, in a sense, some of the stuff that we could do, we could work with others, train people to kind of get those things done that are needed to be done. Sometimes when patients adjust their legs or sockets, because it looks pretty simple, we just loosen a screw, or we turn something, or we heat something, or we cut it. I've had some patients who've modified their sockets. No names mentioned, but I think they're watching. But it maybe a little bit here, a little bit there, but all of a sudden, before you know it, you might go to the point where you can't go backwards, and then once you cut it, you can't edit. So I think there'll be certain things that could be kind of watered down for quick little things, but then there's still going to be a need for what we do and how we do it, and then how it needs to be done and the best way to get it done, the quickest.
That makes sense. I know that there's a lot of different things that can go wrong with a prosthetic or an orthotic device. What are a couple of the common things that you guys take care of when people come in for maybe like small adjustments? I know some people need different alignments so that they can actually walk. What kinds of things do you typically help people with on a daily basis?
Well, there's parts that wear, so things that go against their skin, such as the liners. Then there's mechanical parts, so not much is really going to happen to the stainless steel pin, but then inside here is a lock, and sometimes things get stuck in that lock, or if somebody puts a sock on and doesn't put the hole of the sock over the pin, so the pin is freely exposed, so then they step in and then the leg gets stuck on. So we try to educate the patients at the beginning so we don't have to do that. But there's mechanical parts, such as the locking mechanism. There's also adjustments that we have over here, which changes the relationship of the socket to the foot to make them walk better. So as they start, if it's a new person who gets a prosthesis, they're going to start walking. They're going to walk with a walker, and maybe they'll go from a walker to crutches to a cane to no assistive device. And as they start to progress and as they start to walk, the prosthesis sometimes needs to be changed because they're putting more weight through the prosthesis, and then we might have to optimize the alignment. It's like taking a car to get your alignment changed for your front tires. So things tend to change or patients improve, and we could optimize the leg so they could walk a little bit better. Other things that happen are when they're walking, their muscles act like a pump, so they kind of like squeeze the fluids out of their leg when they're walking. And there's different things that we could put on, such as just very simply a sock to take care of the volume loss, or we could put pads or something inside the socket. So this way we could modify the socket to get them to tolerate pressures in different areas where they can't tolerate pressure.
So what you're saying is things like influx of weight or changes to the actual limb are things that you take care of in office instead of someone, for instance, I know that this wouldn't be the case for a prosthetic, but someone going into CVS and grabbing something to put on real quick, like if, oh, my wrist hurts, my leg hurts, they are at bay of like they are stuck with whatever they got, but you fix all of these problems. Especially I know the weight gain is a big one, weight gain or weight loss, because you have to change the size of the socket.
Right. So we're dealing with volume issues. So if someone loses 5 pounds or gains 5 pounds, that's not going to make a big effect in the grand scheme of things, because you don't lose all your weight in just one particular area. But if somebody goes through a rapid weight loss or weight gain, that could definitely affect how the socket fits. Every time you take a step, it's about 1.5 times your body weight being transferred through that socket up your leg. If you go down a curb or a step, it's about 3 times your body weight. So just simple math. If you're 150 pounds and you're going downstairs, that's about 450 pounds that has to be distributed through that prosthesis onto your leg comfortably. And then if you're carrying heavy loads for work, so it all compounds. But there are some adjustments that we could do. There's sockets that have built-in features, so the patient could do some of the adjustments at home. Patients with all different lifestyles could do all different things.
So we're talking a lot about like the weight that goes onto their leg as they're moving, but how are people supposed to be taking care of their actual limb at home, especially right now?
I've had a few phone calls where they had a problem, and very simply, just take the leg off, let it heal up a little bit, and then send me pictures and let's see what's going on, and then gradually get them back into it. So there's a leg I delivered the other day. He just came in this morning just for a quick alignment change, and it wasn't just simply adjusting a screw. I had to change a plate to redistribute the forces throughout the socket, and then put a heel wedge to stiffen up the heel when he was walking. So those are things that really can't be done at home. So simply, we still need to see these patients. It's just we're trying to be smart, and if it's a true emergency, we will get you in.
That was going to be my next question. What qualifies as an emergency for people to get an appointment with you? And maybe what are some lesser cases that would be a good candidate for a telehealth type video call?
Well, if someone has like a red mark or something's uncomfortable, something's rubbing, it's this technology is pretty simple. We could get started with this, and we could just take a look at what's going on. I have some people who are home from the hospitals after the amputation, waiting for their limb to heal, so I could go ahead and I can make them a prosthesis. So instead of me going to their house to take measurements or them to come to the office to take these measurements, we're just taking pictures. We're sending the measurements back and forth. Once the suture line's healed and their leg is shaped properly, that's when we'll go ahead and either fit them with the shrinker or cast them for the socket.
Gotcha. So for people who are joining and still tuning in, if you guys have any questions for Marc, it's still weird calling you that. For my dad, put it down in the comments, and we will bring those up. So I know that you guys have been trying to figure out, like, I know you had a little bit of time where you were trying to figure out if you were an essential business, if you weren't an essential business. What was that time frame like? Because I know that you went from having your full staff to half your staff to less staff to less staff. What was the experience through that to figure out what you should be doing in this time?
So we did go through those changes from 100% staffing to 50%. We were splitting the shifts down to staffing 25%, and then the next day, that Friday, was 0. So there was a website that we went to New York State to see if we're listed as an essential company, which we are. I tell people we're essential business in the health field, but we're not like critical care. So it's not like you're having a stroke and you're coming in for us to take care of that. So if there's a problem, you could always take your device off. If something breaks, definitely call us, let us know. We could figure out a way to fix these things. But the process was, I think it was on a Friday on my way home. Went home that night, found the link, sent in the information, and then we got a response, I think, by Tuesday. So it was fairly quick. We're also looking into the different things that are out there for the payment protection plan and the SBA loans, just to kind of keep the things moving forward until we start to get back into a groove again. As far as people are coming out, people are having things done. Elective surgeries aren't happening so quickly right now because of all the other care that's needed. So it's an evolving thing. I spent a couple hours this morning trying to find uh, a proper web form for a Medicare assistance program, and I've made about 20 different phone calls because every time I call this department, they tell me to call that department, who then calls me over here, and then this people are telling me to go back over here again. So I'm just trying to figure these things out. So nothing happens quickly, immediately, but things are being done.
Yeah, I know a lot of people between the loans, unemployment, and all of those other avenues that they have to do with calling either the government or different business associations, and I guess also insurance in this case, have been running around menus and trying to figure everything out while they're home. So hopefully you don't have to do too many more phone calls with that.
So some of the SBA loans were done like 3 weeks ago. Then we were told that we need to do it again. It was 2 weeks ago. Then we had to do it again. I've been speaking to people, trying to just compare notes, who's doing what, how are things being done. Just crazy stuff. Banking. Just that's another thing. Authorizations. We have stuff in process. So we have Lori contact the insurance companies to get the authorizations extended so we could have a better opportunity to fit the patients when we can see them again. It's definitely a little different right now.
Yeah, there's no rule book right now, so it's trying to figure out things as you go. How has it been with talking to your contacts at different hospitals, different nursing homes, what has been that experience? Because I know that obviously with hospitals, they don't want extra people in the hospital, and probably same with nursing homes at this point. But what has been your experience with that?
When you go there, you just can't walk in. You have to have ID. They'll take your temperature. You have to fill out paperwork. Um, there's units that are on lockdown. It's it's a little different. Places that you just go to, you just took it for granted that you were just, hey, I'm here, I'm taking care of this patient, this patient, this patient. Now it's, instead of bringing the patients down to the rehab gym, it's seeing the patients in their rooms or things like that. So it's really just trying to take care of whatever emergencies that really need to be done. What's a priority? Um, we're just trying to get through the day. My heart goes out to my friends in the hospitals, the nursing homes, the home care therapists, the doctors, that our referral sources. It's like I'm here. I'm a healthcare provider, but I'm not, if you want to call it, on the front lines of things. It's a little different. Speaking to people. It's you know hearing what's going on. It's a little different.
Yeah, we everyone at this point has seen what all of these doctors are going through at the different hospitals, and I know for a fact that people are working very diligently to keep everyone healthy, and hopefully, if it is a hospital where people have obviously coronavirus, getting them healthy enough to go home to their families, because at this point, coronavirus is affecting not just the theoretical people out there who are getting it, but it's starting to get closer and closer to home for a lot of people. And these healthcare providers are working day and night to keep them healthy.
So, can I ask you a few questions, or are you still grilling me?
You can ask me questions.
So, what has the past few weeks been like for you? I know you've been a little busy behind the scenes.
So for the past few weeks, I've been doing my best to make content that helps people. So I've been trying to figure out different topics to talk about on the live stream. I've talked about preventative health. I had my acupuncturist and Chinese herbalist on. I had my physical trainer on talking about working out at home and things along those lines yesterday. And I've had different professionals come on about all sorts of things, from how you should still be advertising your business and different ways to different resources to use at home. In addition to that, I've also been making videos like Zoom walkthroughs and like how to light yourself when you're on a video call. I'm making a video about how to use good audio for those types of things and like what equipment would be helpful, because I'm trying to give I guess resources to all of the people out there watching, because there isn't someone around that's going to just teach you how to do all of these things. So I've been just trying to connect with my audience and I guess help as best as I can and keep at the forefronts of their minds as best as I can, because if they need help either making video content or help with doing a live stream like this, I'm still here. I'm still working. I mean, a lot of the stuff I'm doing isn't paid work, but I'm still doing the best I can. It would be great if it was paid work, but
Am I getting a bill?
no, you're not getting a bill.
I did get a lot of compliments with the video that you and Eric did, and I just want to thank you and Eric, wherever he might be.
He's over there.
The green screen. But things like that. That's just nice for people to see. Something is being done. And something to look forward to. We still have a little more setting up to do. But it's coming along. I know a lot of what you do is like travel, big events, corporate events, things like that, and it's cooped up in your apartment is a little bit different.
I mean, I don't mind it. Half the time I'm working from home, half the time I'm working out somewhere. So it just feels like a bunch of days where I'm working at home, which is not the worst thing, especially because I've been doing these live streams and I have something to get ready for each day. I've been doing my best to educate people to stay in front of their audience, which you're doing right now. You're on your, like, we're on your Facebook page, we're on my Facebook page, and we're getting information out to them. And I know when this all started happening, I was like, hey, you need to get a video out of you telling people what's going on and what they need to know going forward with if they have an emergency or something along those lines, because a lot of businesses kind of just stayed behind the scenes and you're not learning what they're doing, and you don't know if they're still open. You don't know if they're still there. You don't know if they're going to be there in 3 months when you go back to them.
You know,
So,
where we're in a standalone building on Sunrise Highway in Bohemia.
mhm.
The next building next to us, there's a Dunkin' Donuts, there's a jewelry shop, and then there was a cabinet place. There is no more cabinet place. That they closed after being there, I think, 15 years. It's I'm looking across Sunrise Highway, and there's a strip mall right across the street. And I'm curious. It's scary. Some places will return, and some places, it's crazy.
Yeah, and just seeing like a representative, for instance, yourself, who is in charge of the company, just gives people a little bit of reassurance, because if you didn't say anything, people wouldn't know like how to handle their say brace problem. They wouldn't know if that they can contact you. They would just assume that like, hey, everything's closed. They wouldn't know that you guys are essential and you guys are open. So there's a lot of different things that people can learn and find out from doing a small little video like you did, where it's saying, hey, we're still here, we're here to help, and we will be here for you. So
Hey, your birthday.
yeah, my birthday is coming up at some point. I don't even know what today is. Today is the 9th. We have 2 weeks. Is that correct?
2 weeks.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
hopefully I can do something fun on my birthday, but I will be home. We also have Easter and Passover right now going on.
Yep.
So hopefully people continue to social distance, because a lot of people are probably considering going and visiting family for those holidays.
I got a Evite invitation from some of my cousins, which I think Sunday they're trying to do like a reunion.
On
Um,
Zoom or in person?
so
On video chat or in person?
I think it's gonna be like a Zoom thing where everyone's gonna try to come in, so all friends and family could kind of like just jump in and
Oh,
kind of
that's
see each
cool.
other for the holiday. I'll send you a link. I think you should be in that group. If not,
No.
we'll see if we can set that up.
Well, apparently Nana is so proud of both of us. She is watching. She is she I put her comment right over here. Um, But I also know for Passover, there is a big thing going on. A bunch of celebrities, including like Harvey Weinstein and Fran Fine, and all of the big Broadway names, are doing a live Seder on Saturday night. And you can, I believe it's called the Saturday Night Seder.
So
Um,
bring a Haggadah and sing show tunes. Is that what's going on?
Basically, I'm excited. I like show tunes. But I think it'll be interesting, because the one thing that at least the media has been doing throughout all of this is creating these events to keep people involved. I know on St. Patrick's Day, the Dropkick Murphys did a giant concert, and there was thousands and thousands of people that were watching, and I just watched all of the comments come in, and it was people grateful for them obviously doing this, because it was something to bring a light into what's happening. So
No baseball.
hopefully, no baseball.
No
I mean,
baseball.
it's raining right now. Do you want to go right now?
If there was a game, sure.
My question for you, I was wondering this, and I know this is off topic, but anyone that knows you knows that you are a big Yankees fan. What did they do with the season tickets?
Yep. We're still waiting to find out. So, there was talks that they were going to do double headers.
Uh-huh.
Um, you know, who knows? There's more important things right now than baseball, but it's in the back of my mind. Talking about setting up games in Arizona, with in front of no fans, that they could just televise these.
Mhm.
I don't think that's going to happen, but it's Chelsea competing in for the NCAA with the acro tumbling. Just done. She'll graduate with her master's. Go to bed, wake up the next day, you're an adult. Like
Mhm.
done. Just, it's not going to happen. Well, relatively an adult.
Did you hear Eric laughing? Because
I thought he was choking.
But yeah, everyone's being affected in this situation in different ways. Obviously, your ways are you don't have staff in. Chelsea's ways is her season got canceled, and mine is I'm home making a bunch of content, hoping for the best. So hopefully, everyone has something going for them right now, and they have people to keep in touch with so that they can not feel so alone in this situation.
And a shout out to your brother Charlie. Yesterday, he gave me a nice little surprise. So I had an extra set of helping hands in the back to move a lot of work forward. That would have just taken a lot longer.
Mm-hmm.
So that was nice. And your mom, she's working probably more from home than she did before. But they both surprised me yesterday. So it was like kind of got startled. That people are here, and then it was like, oh, they're there. It was just nice to have another person to talk to.
Yeah, it's the odd new norm of just having space to yourself. If there's a change to that where you have someone in there, it just feels so different.
And your nana's going through a little stir craziness, a little cabin fever, but we're trying to get her through it.
Yeah, I mean, for the people that are home alone right now, it's a lot to handle. And wow, the wind and the rain outside is crazy. But it's a lot to handle because you're going from, at least for instance, for Nana, she's a very social person, going to being home by yourself. You have to figure out, what am I going to do? There's only so many phone calls that you can do. It's not the same as being in the same room as someone. So if Nana's watching, we love you, and we hope that things get easier. That's the best I can.
And just speaking to like friends of mine, different states. She'd rather go out to dinner. I get it. But just friends in different parts of the country, and it's like they're starting to get to see the restrictions that we're seeing now, and fortunately, a lot of them could work from home. Wherever their laptop is where their office is. We provide a product and a service, so I can make the product behind the scenes, but then it's the service end that we have to work with, and you can't make a leg in the garage so easily. So you need the right place, you need the right people, you need equipment. I see.
Yeah. Well, hopefully everything turns around and we can kind of start transitioning back to normal. That's actually something that I'm wondering. How do you think that transition is going to be into normalcy, at least in the medical field after this?
I think there's going to be like stages where you know the essential people there. Then you bring in a supporting staff, and then bring in more staff. It's going to be. I don't think it's just going to be you wake up one day and all of a sudden, everyone's back to work, and your phones are ringing, and all these other things. There's going to be a little bit of a tail end of once everything clears, business wise, just trying to get the company, not just day to day, but get it back up and running again to take care of the patients and provide for the employees.
Well, hopefully that's a quick and easy transition. I know people are likely going to be a little nervous leaving home to go out, especially to like a medical facility or just kind of to live their life after this. So hopefully people take those steps and just get the help that they need for their different medical, I guess, problems, situations, uh, cases, whatever the terminology would be. So I think we're gonna start wrapping it up, unless you have anything else that you would like to discuss.
I got work to do, but I thank you for your time. This is just another tool that's out there. So this is pretty cool stuff that you're doing. I thank you.
No problem. And thank you so much for coming on and giving a little bit of insight as to what's happening in the world of orthotics and prosthetics, medical, and what you and your company have been going through and actually doing. I know that we had a couple of people who, like, for instance, commented like this, saying that this was very informative and thanking you for all the work that you do. So on behalf of everyone who has attended the stream today, and I know all of your patients, thank you for all the work that you're doing.
I thank them. I wish everyone well. I just want everyone to be safe and just make smart decisions until this starts to clear up a little bit more.
Oh, I disappeared for a second.
You froze.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Wow. Weird. All the way at the end. So thank you to everyone who was attending today. I hope that this gave you a little bit of insight and answered some of your questions as to what people are doing right now in terms of medical, orthotics, prosthetics, what you should be doing at home, and especially how to keep your brace and or limb and or prosthetic clean in this situation. I hope that you guys are staying safe and healthy. And if you are in New York, you're staying inside because it is nasty out with all of the wind and the rain. But we will see you again tomorrow on my page. And if my dad wants to do any more of these live streams with any of his friends in the industry, we'll definitely get those happening too. So I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time.